Here.
Mr. Paul?
Here.
Mr. Villagna?
Here.
Mr. Villaretto?
Here.
Mr. Gressel?
Here.
Ms. Hans?
Here.
All members of council are here and accounted for. The purpose of this meeting is to bring forth legislation that will be considered by City Council at a future date. Before we move into the sunshining of legislation, let me remind everyone, if they have a cell phone, to please turn it off or put it in a vibrating position. With that, we will start off with Mr. Johnson.
I have nothing to sunshine, but I would like to call a planning committee meeting for February 16th at 6:30.
The clerk will facilitate the proper notices for our planning committee of council meeting on February 16th at 6:30 p.m. And Mr. Johnson, you and I will get together for an agenda. Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Mr. Lawless.
Nothing.
Thank you, Mr. Lawless. Mr. Paul?
Yes, Your Honor, I have a couple things here. Under the Finance Committee, I have three items. An ordinance repealing the existing table of organization of the City of Steubenville, Ohio, and now enacting a table of organization for all employees of the city and declaring an emergency. That's one. Two, I have an ordinance amending ordinance number 2015-118, adopting a revenue tax budget for the year ending December 31st, 2016, for the purpose of providing the performance that will be specified by plan projection. And three, an ordinance to make appropriations for the current expenditures and other expenditures of the City of Steubenville within the general fund, special revenue funds, capital project funds, debt service funds, enterprise funds, internal service funds, expendable trust funds, non-expendable trust funds for the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2016. Okay, you have all that? All right. Now, a couple reminder. I have one reminder. A reminder that at 6:30 on February 2nd next week, we will have a Health and Safety Committee meeting. You gave me an agenda, Your Honor, and I want to add something, Mr. Johnson, and also something Mr. Lawless and I'll get with you on that. But next Tuesday, 6:30. Okay, and then on February 6th, we had another workshop this past weekend, 4 hours, and we were working on our shop. It took a while. We missed you, Mr. Villaretto. I understand you were busy digging your way out. That's great. That's fine. This weekend, I know you want to do something, but on February 6th, we're going to have another workshop, and we want to discuss some of the budgetary initiatives and goals we want to set up for the city, and also work together with the new city manager on our plan of action moving forward, council as a whole. We want to be unified on this, and we want to be unified on our commitment to the levy 1 and 2. We want to also discuss that maybe. With that, Your Honor, I'm done.
Thank you, Mr. Paul. The time for the
10:30. I'm sorry, 10:30. Good, Scott?
thank
Okay.
you,
10:30 again on Saturday.
Thank you, Mr. Paul. And before we move on, if I just may address, you are correct. The last 2 Saturdays, the City Council took time out of their day, in fact, a considerable amount of time out of their day, to do a workshop discussing quite a few items, mostly pertaining to the 2016 budget. We even went over the description of funds, the fund balances. I think it was an outstanding workshop, and we were able to accomplish a lot and have a clear understanding, especially for the newer members of council. And we have reached a resolution on presenting a 2016 budget for adoption next week. I might add that the budget, of course, is one that is workable. It's a balanced budget, and we are preparing for 2017. But just because we had those 2 workshops, and I'm excited to hear tonight we're going to have additional ones, we still have a lot of work cut out for us over the calendar year of 2016. The budget that will be adopted is one that we can work within the framework, providing the services that we're providing our citizens now, with a couple of improvements even within that budget. So it's exciting to me that we were able to come to a resolution, present our citizens with a budget that we will all agree that is workable and achievable with goals in mind for 17. I do want to point out that tonight we also sunshined a resolution about the table of organization. As it's well noted, we have some financial obligations through contractual agreements that we have with the ASME union that calls for a 2.2% raise. That will be reflected along with our non-union employees within the table of organization. But that's all calculated in our workshop and in our budget that was presented, and that will reflect those raises. We have also taken time out of the workshop to address some of the departments and the staffing levels and possibly reorganizing, shifting, reassigning, whatever the case may be. I indicated to you all on Saturday that we will reflect this within the table of organization. Well, we are still, staff and I are still working on those movements. It will, and I will assure you, become a reality. However, understanding and moving forward with that, there are some labor items that we need to address. In fact, earlier I received a letter from the ASME union requesting a labor management meeting. That will happen this coming Thursday, and we'll work through the necessary things. But the message was clear on the reassigning or re-duties or cross-training, whatever you may call it, and we will get to that end results, but it won't show within this table of organization for next Tuesday. But I can assure you it will be coming. Our finance director, you want to add anything to the TO discussions or the budget discussions?
You explained it very well.
Thank you, Mr. Lewis. We'll continue on sunshining of legislation to Mr. Villamagna.
Nothing this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Villamagna. Mr. Dioretto.
Yes, Your Honor. Sure. I want a service committee meeting on February 9th at 6:30 to discuss the upcoming projects for the year 2016 and 2017, highlighted by Mr. Dolak. Will give the presentation and we'll give you an update on the search for the new city manager. We have 6 applicants. 3 of them are locally. A lot of good response from local people. We plan to start the interview process this weekend. Hopefully have a new manager by next week. And I want to thank council for their cooperation. There's always a minority that keeps the majority in line. Like Thomas Jefferson said, we're working to get the best possible person to run this city on a 7-day-a-week, 24-hour basis. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dioretto. Mr. Dioretto, I believe you
Well,
want
I'm
to
gonna
call
call
for
it
a
up.
committee.
I'm sorry. I want to call an executive session immediately after the meeting.
After this meeting?
Yeah. Tonight.
For
Purpose. Personnel.
For personnel tonight?
We're going to talk about the city manager. I'm being very transparent.
I completely agree. Mr. Rapallo, they can move into an executive session for
I'll
discussion
do that.
of personnel. Thank you. Roll call?
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mr. Lellis?
Aye.
Mr. Powell?
Aye.
Mr. Villamagna?
Aye.
Mr. DiLoretto?
Aye.
Mr. Dressel?
Aye.
Ms. Hahn? Aye.
So
Thank
moved.
you.
City Council will move into an executive session following public forum this evening. Anything further, Mr. Diarretto?
I'm done.
Mr. Diarretto, I believe you do want to have a meeting on Saturday, though.
Yeah,
Is
we'll
that
talk about
correct?
that afterwards, yeah. We're having a meeting on Saturday, we'll start it at noon.
Okay, you need to call for a meeting. It cannot be an executive committee. It could be council as a whole or one of the committees. At that meeting, you can move into an executive session, but you need to call for a meeting for Saturday and specify a time.
I call for a meeting for Saturday, what, start at 9 o'clock? 10?
I can this Saturday, yeah.
Fine?
Yes, it's fine.
Mike, you work?
I don't work weekend.
Okay, we'll start at 9 o'clock. Now, is this open meeting? We're gonna-
No, you can move, once you have the meeting, just like you did tonight, you can call this meeting,
I want to close.
and then at the meeting, you make a motion to move into an executive session for personnel
So
purposes.
be it.
To conduct interviews, that's how you have to run it.
Yes, you can do that, but you gotta have a committee
But
meeting.
if all we want to do is conduct interviews on Saturday, not have a meeting, we have to call meetings.
This was council's meeting,
It's your meeting.
you have to call the meeting, and then move into executive.
Now, I'll call a meeting for Saturday, 9 o'clock. Start, hold up the process.
Second.
We regularly move to second, the city council will hold, council as a whole, meeting Saturday morning at 9 a.m. And to make it clear, it will be for the either conducting of interviews or personnel.
Right.
And you're going to move into the executive session, so we don't waste anybody's time coming, I understand that.
I'll go to jail.
Roll call?
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mr. Wallace?
Aye.
Mr. Paul?
Aye.
Mr. Villamagna?
Aye.
Mr. DeShadow?
Aye.
Mr. Dressel?
Aye.
Ms. Vaughn?
So moved. There will be a meeting of our city council as a whole, Saturday at 9 a.m. And we are announcing this evening that the intention of council then is to move to an executive session for discussion of personnel, being the city manager or and conduct interviews. Thank you, Mr. Diarretto.
We have a meeting after this meeting, executive session.
That was already, yes. Thank you,
Sure.
Mr. Diarretto. Mr. Dressel.
No legislation.
Thank you, Mr. Dressel. Mrs. Hahn.
No legislation.
Thank you, Mrs. Hahn. I do want to, before we move to public forum, very quickly add the service committee that was called next Tuesday, or the following Tuesday, the 9th. Let it run an update on the street repaving projects in the street program in our CIP. We will also talk about the brown and white downtown historic street signs. Mr. Dolak has some drafts of what it's going to look like. I think you'll be very impressed with the outcome of that, but we'll have that discussion also on the 9th. Also, very quickly, because this is coming up this coming Monday on February 1st at 7 a.m., we will start the Logan Avenue Waterline Project. Staff, we have already met with the school district, the businesses. I think I informed council.
What date
Saturday,
on?
this coming Monday, February 1st,
Okay.
7 a.m. in the morning. No parking will be on the 3rd Street and all. We talked about that. And everybody, the school district and all has been notified, but I want you to know that. Also, today, our final discussions with Judge Massio on the courtroom video that we've been talking about and doing a joint venture with the Jefferson County. I authorized the court system to use funds that are earmarked for capital improvement. We will be entering into an agreement with the county. Right now, preliminary indications are the total cost of the project is $350,000. We will be splitting that with the 2 common police courts, the 3 county courts, and also municipal court. 6 entities. The city's cost will be about $11,680 per year over the next 5 years. So the video arraignment system is moving forward and is authorized. Just got to get the voucher through the system. The healthcare premiums, as we talked about, has been restored. Notices to our employees will go out tomorrow, as we indicated. And finally, I would like the members of City Council to indicate to me a convenient date, either Monday, February 1st, or Wednesday, February 3rd, to have our first income tax renewal meeting. We'll secure the facility across the street. I'm hoping to have that late in the afternoon after working hours for people to meet. We have most of the statistics prepared by staff. We'll put the final touches on that and have that prepared for that planning meeting on the approach. Just so you know, the issue 1, which will be the 3/10 renewal, issue 2 will be the 7/10 renewal that's on the ballot. I want to thank the members of council for allowing me to give that brief report at the Sunshine meeting. With that, we will now move to public forum. Is there anyone wishing to speak to City Council on city business? Please come forward, state your name and address.
Marlene Pogursky, 3113 Portland Boulevard. I just have a question, and I don't know if it's for Mr. Dolek or Mr. Murphy. In light of what's in the news today about Flint, Michigan, and I think it's Sebring, Ohio, I know that we've talked before and something was said about the infrastructure and how old the pipes were and lead in the pipes. Are we doing anything to test for that, and do we think we might have a problem, and are we doing anything that maybe we won't be in a position that they're in?
Mr. Murphy, I think you could address that, but we're regulated and have to do testing and get that analyzation. And then we also have specs out in the community that we get from the faucets and all. But Mr. Murphy, if you would kindly explain.
I think you did a pretty good job already there. Yeah, in essence, we do go ahead and test at various locations as required by Ohio EPA for these things, and we don't have that issue whatsoever, either the filtration route in the system itself. So that's definitely not a concern in our area. As far as the deterioration of our pipes, it's more a matter of our pipes are all made, as far as the city's lines, of a cast iron. For the most part, outside of those, we've been replacing with the plastic, if you will. So, again, that's not been an issue with our community.
I remember at one meeting we talked about that. We talked about some kind of, when you were changing the infrastructure, and you were talking about the pipes that might lead from the street to the home, and that might be a problem for the homeowner. And you were concerned about those old pipes that might contain lead. Is that a problem that could be, or?
As far as things are concerned, I know that we have done actually some testing, even going into some residents on occasion. There was an infant that had a lead issue. As a matter of fact, over on Layville area, I can't remember the street, but the thing is they went ahead and had specifically requested a lead test. We went ahead and had that performed, and it came back as no issue whatsoever. There was no lead. And without a doubt, a lot of the homes, once they've had their service lines replaced, repaired, or it's recent construction, or newer construction, the 70s forward, I would say, roughly, they're probably going to have a lead line if they're really old and haven't been replaced.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. And speaking about water, I'll give good news to the First Ward councilman. A problem that's been probably existing for about 3 years or so on Walnut Street. We experienced a couple of breaks. There was about 3 residents or so without water or very low water pressure. One of our employees, Jeff Daniels, we repaired it once about 4 days ago, and they had pressure for a short period of time, but apparently there was another break. I know you received a couple of calls or several calls from the residents. One of our employees, Jeff Daniels, one of our employees after we repaired it and fixed it, went to a home and interrupted the gentleman's shower. However, he didn't mind because he was so happy taking a shower and he had to. But that repair is complete and the residents do have it. And then we had a small interruption on Chestnut. Help me out, Chuck.
And we had, I think it was the 2600 block of Chestnut, and essentially it was in the backyards. They repaired that earlier this week, and there was a bit of an interruption to some folks that actually live on Whitehaven there, where we had to go ahead and isolate the valves in that particular area so that we could go ahead and make the repairs in the yards behind Chestnut. It was a temporary interruption, of course. Everything is okay, and everything's back on in order.
Thank you, Chuck. And the reason I wanted to say that is, it's not the best of weather out there, and our crews out there working and all, they should be commended, and not really only in water and wastewater, but even with our snow removal. So I'm very excited and proud of our city employees. Mr. Rappel.
And we should also note that anytime there's problems with service lines that we uncover and they're lead, they gotta go. Or any time when we're tapping in the street and doing new valves, if we see there's a lead line, fire code, it has to be removed. So people get very upset about that, it's very costly. So that's the other thing, when we know, when we find it, we shut the water off and that's the removed.
And that's the homeowner.
That's the
Homeowner's responsibility from the tap into the structure to the house. Is there anyone else wishing to speak to City Council on city business? Please step forward, state their name and address.
Anna Sweeney, 710 North First Street. I'm having a problem with the city manager position. Exactly what does he do that you couldn't do? Because it seems to me if we're trying to work on a budget, that would be money that we could save.
Well, first of all, the city manager's position is called for by the voters under the charter that was adopted, I believe, in 1986, if I'm not mistaken, maybe 84. But that position exists and it needs to be filled.
Okay. So maybe sometime in the future, maybe we could go back and revisit that ordinance or whatever.
That would have to be initiated by a petition by the citizens of the city of Steubenville. I believe, don't quote me, it would take 10% of the signatures of the people that voted, the amount of people that voted in the last election, and then that issue could be placed on the ballot to continue operating under city manager form of government or strong mayor form of government. But until that issue is there, we're under the council, manager council form of government, and council is obligated to hire a city manager.
I'm just trying to figure out ways that we could save money for our budget.
Everybody wants the mayor of former government, Tom Mucci or anybody else that's not going to run this city for $4,900.
Is that all they get?
That's all it gets.
My
If you want a mayor of former government, you have to go down to the board election. They tried it twice, it failed. I tried to get it set up 4 years ago. I got no volunteers. None. Thank you.
That was it.
It was tabled a couple meetings ago about the janitorial services. They was going to look into having the court. Has there any been any update?
Yes, I spoke with Judge Massio and the individual that he has assigned to the court offenders. If you go into the city building, it's looking pretty good. They cleaned it, they did the restrooms and all. We are now, my secretary will be the supervisor in that building, but we are doing the common areas right now on a regular basis, and we're rotating the offices and working out that schedule with the office staff.
Good. Another taxpayer savings.
Thank you.
And I would like to commend Mr. Reyna. A couple weeks ago, there was a gentleman that was homeless, needed shelter, he was sleeping in his car, And Mr. B took him down to the friendship room and made sure he had warm conditions for that night. So I just want to commend him for stepping in and helping a fellow citizen.
Thank you. Is there anyone else wishing to speak to city council on city business? Please come forward, state their name and address. If not, I will ask council chambers to be cleared so we can move into an executive